In progress.
Hello and welcome to the Quantum Disclosure Project and to my webinar, Quantum Healing with Breathwork. My name is Susan Hayes. I am the Spark Activator, reigniting the spark within, which is done by stoking that inner fire with the breath work. Now, because it's all about the breath, before we continue, let's just take a few moments to take 3 or 4 really full, deep, conscious breaths, breathing in through your nose and exhaling through your nose or your mouth as you choose. Okay, so let's do that. You may want to set your intentions while you're doing this. Now, the good thing about this video in being pre-recorded is that you can stop and pause it at any point if you feel like you want to be sure your environment is set up in such a way that you won't be interrupted, that you will not be disturbed. It's actually like ideal if that you've already done that or that you pause the video now and be sure that your environment is set up in such a way. It's also important that you are comfortable, that you have comfortable clothing, that you have a place where you can lie down when we do the shamanic breathwork taster near the end of this video. And part of that is also having an eye mask or scarf over your eyes if it's optional, if you choose, a box of Kleenex perhaps next to you, a blanket to keep you warm, maybe a pillow, but really it's preferable that you are lying down. Okay? So if you need to do that, that's okay. Also, you may want to light a candle if you haven't done so. Bring along your favorite crystals to assist you with acquiring the knowledge and insight and wisdom today and the activations that these crystals and our fellow star beings, including the ant people, are sharing today. So I have been guided to bring along a crystal that is blue, that is more associated with the thymus and the throat chakra, as well as one that is orange, which is the optimal color, or the sacral chakra when it is in optimal functioning mode. And this, I believe, is a garnet, but I'm really not sure, quite honestly. Anyways, the two chakras, the throat and the sacral and the root, are very, very connected, interconnected, as all of them are. But in particular, these two, because any restriction in your breath with your nose, your mouth, any disease or pain, sore throats, bronchitis, and so on, that you are feeling in your throat or any part of your airway, your nose, and so on, is going to correspond with restriction in your genitalia. In your genitalia, however that may manifest. So there's not going to be that full healthy expression with your genitalia, your sexuality, and your sexual organs if there's any type of blockage in your throat and with that authentic expression. So the two are interconnected and related, and for optimal functioning, we want to make sure that we're clearing blockages in the airway and also with our other gateway and portal with the cervical opening where the babies are born in the perineum for men. Okay? I may get into that a little bit more, but I really wanted to share that. I guess for some reason to start off, it wasn't my original intention, but I guess it's what wanted to be shared. So disclosure, let's go back to disclosure and what that may mean. It has a lot of different meanings. For me, it means the falling away of illusions and unveiling the organic truth. and being able to use discernment in terms of what's real, what's not, what's the organic truth. And that can be really tricky in our current dynamics and shift with our earth into the new earth, because there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of infiltration trying to distract us and trick us into thinking something that looks like truth and it actually isn't. So one of the best ways, there's many ways, but one very, very powerful way to attain that discernment, which leads to disclosure, is with the breath work. And that's why I am so passionate about it. The breath work is a super power wash, deep cleanse that really helps to purify and raise one's vibration, which expands their perspective and more readily allows one to see the organic truth and to see behind the lies, whether it's on a large scale or whether it's if you're, with one-on-one or have just met somebody and you're like, it seems like they're a good person. We're all good, basically. Don't get me wrong. I think they have good intentions. So it's really being able to discern that. So disclosure and discernment, the real double D's, the big double D's. Really important, powerful. Okay, let me see here, my notes. Okay, so disclosure is remembering who you truly are, where you've come from, your star families, your ET origins. It's remembering that you are galactic. You are a galactic cosmic being living in this avatar and perhaps many other avatars and many fractals in other realities, in other parallel lives. That there's so much more. As such, because you are a galactic being, it means you're multidimensional, and it means you have the power to change what's going on within and have that help to assist changing what's going on without projected outly onto our world stage much more effectively as a collective. And I imagine if you are here today, then you are a star seed. I believe we are all star seeds, but there are those star seeds who are activated or have chosen to be on the front lines, so to speak, in this particular reality, because I believe others who have not chosen that are perhaps on the front lines in another reality. So no judgment. Every role is important on this planet. Yet let's acknowledge that if you have chosen to be on the front lines in this particular reality, it hasn't necessarily been easy. And this is why the ant people, as well as your star family, your ET family, is here to assist you, has always been, but is really wanting, like maybe knocking on your door, maybe literally, maybe figuratively, say, hey, we're here. Just ask us for help and for guidance, and we will do so. We will do that for you. A lot of times they're waiting and they're wanting to help us, but we've got to be able to ask them and also to recognize and acknowledge. So there is so much they can do, and they are assisting us. Yet we can reach out to them and have this telepathic communication. And this is another powerful thing with the breath work. It really helps to purify and cleanse at such a level that it facilitates the opening of one to raise their vibration at such a level that they are able to be receptive to that telepathic communication and have a greater awareness of it. Okay, let me see. Yes, yes. So disclosure is also just recognizing that interconnectedness of all of us, of other ETs, otherworldly dimensional beings, of nature, everything in nature, all of the elements of animals, of the celestial and cosmic bodies, like it's all interconnected. And what is happening with one affects everything else in the world. I mean, it's that butterfly effect. One small thing, whether it's judgment, is going to affect and ripple onward and outward and inward to infinity. So it's really making sure that we are being compassionate beings, loving, and allowing ourselves to be honest with how we feel so that we can move beyond that and have the feel good love. But denying those lower vibrating emotions isn't going to bring us to that place, magically to that place of love. And I'll get more into that also with the breath. Okay. Hmm. Yes, yes. So, yes. Okay. Before I continue, let's give a tribute to our ant people. Thank you so much. I have to say that I have just recently been consciously made aware of these group of beautiful inner earth beings due to Melanie Aguirre. I'm sure they've always been trying to connect with me. I've been seeing ants everywhere since I have moved to Santa Fe and not wanting to step on them. So it's interesting that now they have consciously come into my awareness. Let me talk a little bit about these beings. They are, and you may already know, but I'm going to share it anyways, just in case. Ants in general are very diligent. They are highly intelligent, and the ant people are spiritually and emotionally intelligent. They are very higher dimensional beings. They live in the inner earth, and let me continue with the qualities. So they're all about the teamwork. They're all about unity. They're all about community. They're all about harmony and fostering harmony. And one of the ways that they do that is not only within their own group and group of the ant people, but also reaching out to their fellow beings, their human beings, and more that are perhaps going through very chaotic and turbulent times. They step up and reach out to assist us and transforming in a way with greater ease. That, yes, maybe it's still chaotic and all that, but they show us how to face the adversity of major transformation. We're going into a new earth. They help us to do that so that there is more harmony, there is more inner peace, and there's greater ease with doing that. So it's being open to that, receptive to that assistance, and even asking for it. So really want to thank our ant people. And let's take a moment and pause for gratitude. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep, full breath. Maybe you want to put your heart, your hand, or your hands on your heart, just to express that gratitude. And imagine this radiant, white, love infused light streaming through the top of your head, through an open crown, coming all the way down through your heart, particularly in your heart, and it's pulsing in and out. It's just this live, it's alive, it's vital, full of vital, loving energy, pulsing. And then this light streams all the way down through your abdominal region, your back, your genitalia region, down your legs, all the way down to your feet and out through the soles of your feet, and continues down into inner earth, where the inner beings, the ant people reside, where they can feel the pulse of your loving heartbeat. Like, I can see them now. I can just imagine they're just like, wow, they're getting hit with this wave of love and gratitude. And as you do that, continue with this wave to those areas that have been hit with the tsunami and the earthquake. Now, this is a video being recorded on July 29th, and we have just experienced not we, but the earth has experienced some major upheaval, or what I would like to consider major transformation. And this is why the ant people are here, to help us with these turbulent times. And so to imagine that this wave of love and energy is going, in particular, to those areas that have been most affected by this earthquake in Russia and the tsunami waves, also in Russia, I believe in Japan, perhaps in Hawaii, although it's been downgraded. And that is a tribute to the work that is being done for those that understand the power of accessing the ant people, asking them for help so that we can ease these turbulent times. So, yes, imagine that wave of love and light to those areas. Okay, let's see what's next. My tribute to my loving guides. Yes, these, and by the way, the Ian people, I have reached out to them. I have been in telepathic communication, and they have lovingly guided me in terms of the wisdom and the knowledge that I am sharing today. And also, there has been bits and pieces that have been coming in that were not on my notes. So I'm just really following my intuition and trusting that that is what is most valuable and pertinent to be shared for all of you today, or for whenever you watch this. Okay, so today I'm going to get into, yes, I'm going to share the breath work. I'm going to share proper breath work, proper breathing, because many people in today's society do not breathe correctly. They do not breathe properly, and it is affecting their health. It is affecting their health. I am going to share some of these exercises so that you can actually practice and apply what I'm going to share with you today. And I will be doing a shamanic taster, breathwork taster near the end of this video. I'm not going to use tribal music. I'm going to chant. I'll use some instruments. I have to be honest. I had been practicing with the instruments and recording and changing the settings, and I'm able to hear my voice when I'm chanting, but not necessarily the rattles. Now you can see this moving. I don't know if you can hear it. I hope you can. I certainly can. So I will be using the rattle during that 10-minute to 15-minute breathwork sampler. Yet if you can't hear the rattle or the drum or whatever, it's okay. You're just going to breathe and know that it's the energy and the intention. And I do this in person anyways. It involves intuitive touch. And obviously, I won't be able to touch you, but I will be able to touch you energetically. And I will get more into that later. So that's something exciting to look forward to, I think. Fun, fun, fun. And let's see what else. So, yes, with the proper breathing, I will also share what are some of the causes of illness. What are the different ways people breathe that is not conducive for wellness and well being? It is so, so connected. It's so simple as the breath, but I myself am still working to breathe properly more often because I don't always, yeah. So we're always, always learning, or I am. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me just share a little bit more about myself, the shamanic breath work, what it is, how I came into doing or facilitating the shamanic breath work. Now, I, so I'm a, my name is Susan Hayes. I am a shamanic breathwork facilitator and spiritual guide. Now, prior to that, I was an early childhood education teacher for 20 years, bilingual Spanish, English, ESL, special education, and so on. I was also a rehabilitative massage therapist for 8 years, where I also did the breath work for all ages. I continue with that breath work. I don't do the massage so per se, but I do incorporate it into my shamanic breathwork journeys. And that is where that background has really helped with all those different pieces that have come together so that I can facilitate a more effective shamanic breathwork journey for people. So if that energy becomes stagnant, I'm able to help get flow into that body and help the energy to flow. And I can also do that energetically, by the way, remotely, but I do prefer to do it in person. Initially, the breath work that I was trained in did not involve shamanic elements. So the shamanic elements of the tribal music, drums, rattles, instruments, all kinds of music, song, sometimes dance, and the intuitive touch in my particular journeys. That is one thing that was very different, that I experienced really intense triggers one summer. It was just last summer, a couple summers ago, where a lot was coming up in terms of memories of parallel lives, not just this lifetime, but parallel lives. And this is really important to note, is that as you raise your vibration, as you continue to ascend, you lower the veil, it becomes thinner and thinner, and other lifetimes or parallel, I have such a hard time with that word. Anyways, I'll just do the symbol. Start bleeding through or coming through into this reality, which can be positive or they can interfere. And so when they do show up, it's just a timeline that is wanting to be integrated and collapsed. And so the breath work is really good at doing that. And if it's coming up to the surface, it means it's ready for you to be aware of it so that you can integrate it and start to bring more of you online, more into wholeness in those fragments, this soul retrieval they talk about, or many talk about, excuse me. So these triggers were related to other lifetimes, as well as my experience in the SSP, the Secret Space Program. Now, that is something I haven't wanted to talk about for a long time because I would get restriction in my throat. I would seem to get interference, but now is the time. Now is the time. And so there were a lot of memories coming up with that weren't so pleasant. It was so intense. I just was not really functioning in my life. So, in desperation, I attended a retreat with Shamanic Breathwork, and it was phenomenal. I healed on so many levels, and I knew, oh, okay, Spirit was telling me you were given those triggers to put you back on path. This is your mission, to put you fully 100% on path with your mission with the shamanic breath work. And so really, it really opened up that clarity for me. So I'm really grateful for those triggers. So triggers aren't always bad. They're often gifts. They're gifts, the chaotic, turbulent times of transformation, alchemizing them into better understanding, or perhaps making choices that are more in alignment with what will bring you joy and who you are authentically, who you truly are, and who you truly be. So they're gifts. They're gifts. That is what brought me back to the breath work. Let me see. Okay. Just make sure I've got it all covered. Look at all my notes. Okay, so the shamanic elements, I talked about that in terms of there's music, there are rattles, there's drums, all sorts of instruments. There's dancing. Sometimes I'll stomp. That will help to shift the energy, or clapping. There's a lot of different ways to do that. Um, and the shamanic piece to me is really important, for particularly for those who've had extreme trauma. And if you've been in the Secret Space Program, if you are a frontline seeder, then that's you. You've most likely had extreme challenges throughout your life, maybe significant trauma. And what happens is that if you, or even in other lifetimes, as those are coming up, there may be this energetic block or wall where you don't feel safe to express who you really are. You don't feel safe to be seen. And it may be that no matter what you do, that people just don't seem to see you. So there may be an energetic block or wall, or maybe you keep looping back into that trauma, even though it's long gone and over and you're safe, but you keep looping back. So the shamanic elements help to break that trauma loop, because it's bringing you back into your body. It's not allowing you to disassociate. It's helping you to reassociate and truly feel your senses, because we desensitize, we shut off our senses in order to deal with trauma, to cope with it at that time. So by including all these elements that really get in touch with your senses, including appropriate and sacred, safe touch in a safe setting, when those memories come up, and you were touched and you were hugged in connection with a memory where you weren't hugged, maybe you weren't nurtured, it helps to break that trauma loop. This is why I love the shamanic breath work and because of all the different elements that are incorporated. All right, let's see. Yes. So, PTSD. So what happens with that when you're able to break that trauma loop and get yourself out of that fight, flight, or freeze, that chronic stress, which the breath helps to calm your nervous system and to reset it, as long as you're doing that properly. And we're going to talk more about that. Let me look at my notes. Then what you do is you then transmute your PTSD, your post-traumatic stress disorder, which I really don't like the name, but that's okay. You transmute it into PTSD, post-triumphant successful deprogramming. And you don't have to worry about being haunted by all these memories and feel like you're going to keep being triggered and looped back. Like there is hope. You can finally break that pattern and break that trauma loop. And not just with breath work. Obviously that's what I do, and it's been one of the most powerful transformers, but there's a lot of different modalities, healing modalities out there, and I do a lot of different modalities myself to maintain my wellness. So the shamanic breath work is like a power wash. It's not something you would necessarily do every day. It's very intense. And I liken it to a dental cleansing that you get maybe once every 6 months. It is like super deep, super clean. And it is not something you would want to do every day because it would be too much. It would be too much. And so the breath work is similar. It's not something you would do every day, but it is nice as a tune-up to help cleanse at a deeper level, especially as stuff is starting to rise to the surface to be healed and integrated. Now, the type of breathing. Okay, so let me see what I would like to talk about first. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna loop back around to the type of breath work that is included in the shamanic breath work. And I want to do a breath activity with all of you. So what I'm going to do is invite you to close your eyes and just breathe as you normally do. So there's nothing new you need to do. Just close your eyes and observe. Observe your breathing. That's it. Don't try to change it. Don't try to do some breathing technique that you've learned. Just breathe as you normally do and observe without judgment. Okay. So as you're doing that, I'm going to ask you some questions. Does your breath feel full and complete? Do you feel any restriction, any congestion in the nose or the throat? And do you notice if you are breathing more through your mouth, through your nose, or both? And exhaling through your nose or mouth? And if you are breathing through your nose, are you breathing through one nostril more than the other? Is there one nostril that is clogged or congested more than the other? Or perhaps both are congested or not? Okay, so you can open your eyes. And if you want to take the time to just maybe jot down a few things that you noticed about your breathing and your breathing, any patterns. Again, it's not about right, wrong, better, worse. It's not about judgment. It's just about awareness. Awareness of where you are now. What is your breath like? What is the quality of your breath? And if you had to rate it from 1 to 10, how would you rate the quality of your breath, with number 1 being like, it's awful. Oh my God, I can't even breathe. It's so hard. To number 10 being, wow, I breathe with such ease all the time. It's just, I just feel so free with my breath. So give that a rating, 1 to 10. Okay. Now you can pause the video to do that if you feel like you're still writing notes as I continue here. So we're going to continue on with some of the causes of dis-ease, why people have perhaps bronchitis, erectile dysfunction even, digestive issues, laryngitis, chronic sinus infections, headaches, heart conditions. There's so many illnesses. If I don't want to say all, there's so many illnesses and conditions that are related to ineffective breathing. And one of the most important breathing techniques is to breathe through your nose. Breathe through your nose, not through your mouth. And sometimes when people get nervous or they're anxious, they tend to breathe through their mouth. They want to get in huge amounts of oxygen because their breath is starting to shorten because they're in a panic. They may feel anxious. Maybe they just found something out, or they're afraid about the future, what's going on. And so they're in that fight, or freeze with the chronic stress. And so they're not breathing fully, deeply, and not even necessarily through the nose. Now, what happens is when somebody has a panic attack, they begin to hyperventilate. It's an involuntary response, and the body is wanting to find balance with that and get the breath in the body. But what happens is the breath begins to shorten unless you consciously take a deep breath through your nose and the equal length of exhalation, a full exhalation out of your mouth, you will begin to counteract that panic attack and begin to calm down and find inner peace. That is one very simple tool that you can use when you are noticing that you're becoming anxious, you're feeling tightness in the chest, you're nervous about something, is to breathe through the nose slowly, fully, and slowly exhale. And now this is another thing I've noticed, particularly with divine masculines, and that's not gender based, by the way, is that many divine masculines are really good about getting a full inhale in, but they don't fully exhale. It's like, oh, they're ready to go, they're ready to fight, they're ready to let go. And I don't mean just fight, I mean they're driven, like they're taught to be hunters and gatherers and all that. So they've got to be ready. And so there isn't often that time to fully exhale. So you want to be sure that you're fully inhaling and have an equal amount of time for that exhalation. So let's say you're inhaling 6 seconds, 6 to 8. Make sure that you're exhaling slowly all the way down to that diaphragm, to your belly region, beyond, and down to those inner beings, the ant people, breathing and exhaling for 6 to 8 seconds. So you want equal lengths of inhalations and exhalations. So let's see. So people either overbreathe, they're trying to get too much oxygen into their body, but guess what? It's not about more oxygen in the body if you don't have that balance with the exhalations, which have to do with carbon dioxide. You want oxygen and your carbon dioxide levels to be balanced, to be coordinated. That's where we get the coherence. If not, then you are going to be in imbalance, and your body is going to manifest in physical pain and other ailments such as digestive issues. And I mentioned erectile dysfunction. You have erectile tissue in your nose. This is something I just learned, by the way. I was like, wow, that's so exciting. That is so cool. I knew there was a connection. You have erectile tissue in your nose. And if you're not breathing through your nose, then you are not optimizing your ability to express healthy sexuality and to have healthy functioning, optimal functioning with your genitalia. It's all related. And so you really want to make sure that you are breathing in through your nose. Why? Some of you may already know this. The nose is touching upon all five elements. It moistens the air that's coming in. There's your water element. Then you have your air element, your ether. You're creating space. You're accessing that space, that wisdom, that intuition when you are clear, when you have a clear channel. And it's that fire. When you breathe through your nose, you are inducing that natural that fire, and you're not, oh, it's not inflammation, it's not enough fire, it's inspiration. Think of the word inspiration. There's a reason why inspiration in healing is the same as inspiration in terms of that creative flow. If you are inspiring and healing through your nose and there's more clarity, then that is helping you with greater creative flow for the most part. You might say, well, I'm already very creative. My nose is blocked. Well, what if you could access greater creativity? Mm. And the sacral chakra also has to do with just inspirational relationships, inspirational life, and joy, and all that. All relationships in the sacral chakra, and then you have your root chakra. So yes, and the nose also has those little hairs, those cilia, that help to push away and cleanse from any allergens, any toxic debris that enter our system. If it goes through the mouth, if we're breathing through the mouth, it's cold air that isn't purified, and it's not moist, it's dry. And many people, me included, and I'm really working on it, it's been a challenge for me, breathe through their mouth at night. That's why people snore. It's why they have sleep apnea, because their body is trying to compensate for the fact that the air isn't going through the nose. It's not being purified. It's not being cleansed, and it's dry. It's not moist. And sometimes the tongue will be will fall back and kind of obstruct the airway. And that's where our body is waking us up to make sure we move that tongue and that we are breathing. Yet through the nose, we don't have that same issue or concern. So I'm not going to get into too much of what you can do during the night in order to facilitate the nose breathing. It's something I'm working on and making sure I'm aware of it. And awareness sometimes is that very first step. Oh, I'm going to take a breath. I think I'm talking a little too fast, taking in too much air. Speaking of incoherence. Okay. So yes, let's see. So people can overbreathe, underbreathe. When people get into so there's the chronic stress, you have your fight, your flight, and freeze. We don't talk enough about the freeze. Like you literally play dead, because if you don't, you will be dead. That was my experience. I experienced a trauma where if I did say anything or if I expressed myself or screamed, I would have been killed. So I learned to play dead and freeze. So when you freeze, you're not really breathing at all. You're shutting down all your senses. And that is not conducive for your well-being. Your breathing becomes very shallow, and people tend to become very fatigued, and they can develop autoimmune diseases because they are not allowing themselves to be alive. If you're playing dead, you're not focusing on being alive. Yeah. Anyways, let me see. I mean, I'm not going to get too much into the science. I will share a resource near the end of the video that where if you want to know more about the science, I can give you a really valuable resource. Um, but yeah, it's amazing how it's really all connected just with nose breathing. Um, Okay, so for this reason, during my shamanic breathwork journeys, I'm going to turn back around towards that. I know I had moved around a little bit. Um, this is why during my breathwork journeys, people breathe through the nose. It's always through the nose, breathing in through the nose and breathing out of the mouth. Now, some breathwork practitioners will have you breathe out of the nose or the mouth. I mean, it's okay. I really like to have people breathe, exhale out of their mouth because oftentimes, at least the people I have experienced, have not been able to express themselves. And so the voice is really important. It's really powerful. And sometimes with the exhale, people are guided to do intuitively, instinctively vocalizations. That can be yelling, that can be screaming, crying, laughing, or just F you. F you, like I hate you. Like just getting it out and being honest and authentic about it and feeling safe enough to do so. So that's why I like people to breathe out of their mouth, because then there's that opportunity for vocalization. Not that you can't do that with the nose. So the really most important piece is breathing into the nose. It's also important that the breath is, again, the inhalation is equal to the exhalation. And that the inhale and exhale are full. They are complete. And there is a continuous cycle and movement. There is no pause or stopping at the end or beginning of your inhale or exhale. It is a continuous cycle. I don't know if you can hear it. Now I'm already feeling some restriction here. That is one, as I do that, I'm starting to notice a little dizziness. I'm noticing a little bit something here that wants to be free, that's a little tightness, and that's what this breathing can do. And the dizziness is just is showing that there's more oxygen getting to your system. And I don't mean more oxygen than carbon dioxide. There's that misconception. It means there's more oxygen. You're actually getting therapeutic, effective air in your body and also expelling that carbon dioxide. So you're having that coherence, and the dizziness is also part of your body beginning to raise its vibration and beginning to move things through. There's more flow and less stagnation. So with the breath, so again, it's breathing through the nose, equal lengths of inhalations and exhalations, full deep. Let me get up a moment here. So you want to make sure that when you inhale, your belly is filling up. You can feel your rib cage expanding. And as you exhale, your belly goes in and your rib cage also contracts. Now your diaphragm is really important too. So sometimes I get this wrong. As you inhale, your diaphragm moves up, and as you exhale, it moves down. And not everybody engages their diaphragm. And so part of what I will do during a shamanic breath work, also if I notice this, if I notice stagnation with the diaphragm, I will help to move that. And in that way, it sometimes helps to cue people to be able to do that on their own, to pay attention and to be aware of their diaphragm. Let me see. So it's continuous flow, fully deep, equal lengths. This is the other piece with the shamanic breath work. It is breathing at a pace that is quicker, usually quicker than you normally breathe. Quicker. So it's And it's not always. If you're finding that you probably won't get this during the taster because we won't be involved in this breathing type of breathing long enough for you really to lock up. You may, but sometimes people experience tetany is when their body begins to lock up, there's resistance. And that is when I will invite people, or I invite you to actually slow your breath down a little bit and breathe into the tightness and give it permission to let go. Um, or any tightness in your body. Let me see. Just want to make sure I've got everything here. Okay. So let me go back to some of the reasons why people have challenges with their breath. Let me go to the esoteric, the spiritual reason, the emotional reason, which is connected to the physical. People cut off their breath, they cut off their life force when they do not allow authentic expression. So that authentic expression includes who they truly be. So it's someone that may want to do a certain profession and feel, oh, I can't. People think I'm weird. They'll think I'm crazy. Or you may be homosexual and be afraid to share that and be in denial, and understandably so. And that would be denying your authentic self. Um, it's denying the truth that you know deep down. Maybe you're in a relationship and you're like, it's not working. I love this person, but it's not working. I know it's time to move on. Our time is done. And you maybe deny that because you love them so much so that you stay with them. So that's denying your authentic expression. Or there is someone that you absolutely love and you know that they enhance your life, but you don't want to be with them because of what others may think. That's also denying your authenticity. Let's see. Mm. Oh, pretending. When you pretend that everything is okay, that no, I'm not angry, I'm not pissed off. I see this a lot in the spiritual community, especially. We're all spiritual, by the way. We're, oh no, I'm not mad. I got the lesson. Just learn the lesson and move on. Hoponono, whatever that is, just do that and everything's cool. That fixes everything. No, no. By the way, Hoponono, I use that. It's a really important skill. However, first, express what's already within you authentically, honestly, truly within you. Don't lie about it. Don't pretend. You can fake it until you make it, especially if you just lost somebody. But if you are freaking pissed off at someone or something, you are angry. Allow yourself to feel that and to express it appropriately so. Breath work is a great opportunity to do that. And a lot of people express their anger during a breath work journey. By the way, you can do that in a lot of other ways. You can go to the gym, you can get a punching bag and just punch it out if you're really angry, resentful. You can write a letter, maybe a letter that is just, oh, like be honest. If you're like, I really hate you, write it all down. Be honest, be real, because it's already in you. Be authentic with how you feel. And when you are able to do that, oh, by the way, with the letter, and then you can just burn it. I wouldn't send it. Not on the, once you have allowed yourself to express those lower vibrating emotions, you find that you naturally feel more loving. Then you're able to see the bigger picture and have more compassion. Then you're able to recognize and accept the lesson, because everything that happens to us or that we have created, co-created, there is a lesson, there is growth, there's opportunity for growth for us. Yet it's really important to be authentic about how you feel and to express that. Yeah, pretending everything's okay when it's not. Just choose joy. Just be positive. Oh, no, 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 no. No. Let me check my time here because I actually want to share a story about that. Oh, shoot. When did I start? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to share this story. I had a 10-year-old boy whose mom brought him in because he was not getting along with his brother. They were just, oh, at it all the time. They were fighting all the time, and it was really causing, it just was not good for her. The household, there just wasn't harmony, peace and harmony in the household. So she brought him to me and she wanted me to do body work on him. And I said, let's start that way. And if he's open to it and you're open to it, would it be okay to do breath work with him? So she gave me the green light. And because he was 10, she needed to be present in the room. So she was all the way in the back. I was fortunate I was able to use a big space at that time. And we just were not getting anywhere with the body work. And I just looked at him. I said, hey, I could see that we were getting somewhere because as I am touching him and I'm moving and I'm near the heart, I could sense emotion coming up and anger. And I said, hey, I do have a punching bag over there. I think I had shown it to him prior to that or before the session in anticipation, um, and showed him how to use it and all that. And I asked him, I said, do you want to use the punching bag? Would you like to do that? He goes, yeah, I would. And so he took this, there's like a rubber stick. He's hitting it and he's hitting it. And then all of a sudden he asked me, he's like, can I pull the bag onto the ground? I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He took the bag and he started stepping on it. He goes, I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. And I just went, yeah, get it out. There you go. There you go. You've got this. And just encouraging him to express how he feels. And thank goodness his mother knew what was going on because she also received the breath work. And I think he was surprised because, number one, of how he felt, and that his mom's there and I'm there, and we're not telling him to stop. And it's not nice to be hateful. It's not nice to be like that. That we were letting him authentically express how he truly felt. Now, this is key. So, this is what happened during the session. He expressed a lot of hatred, a lot of anger. He was literally stepping on this bag that represented his brother, but it wasn't his brother. So he was doing it in a very safe, appropriate way. The next week, his mom reported to me that the relationship with him and his brother was like so much better. And that what she had realized is that this 10-year-old boy who had come in, his perception was that the mom and dad loved his little brother more than him, and he was jealous. He was jealous of his brother, and he felt like he wasn't loved, like he was worthless, he's no good, they don't love him. That was his perception. But being able to express how he felt opened up his awareness, and his new awareness, his perspective was like, oh, that's not true. That's not true at all. They do love me. And it was also, it opened up the perspective for his parents to see, oh, and so they were able to have a conversation with him, and so there was much more peace and harmony in the home. So it was being able to not pretend everything's okay, like it's not okay to be hateful, but truly expressing that in order to make space for the real love, like authentic love, compassion, and all those joy, high vibe feelings. So, yes. Okay. Where was I going with that? I wanted to share that story because it is really, really powerful. All right, let's see. Let me just take a little gander here. Oh, I didn't go over my intentions, but that's okay. I guess I missed that. Oh, okay. Let me share my story with the breath work. Um, and so there are two things that the breath work has done for me. Number one, it has helped me to heal so many conditions and discomfort in my body, chronic sinus infections, laryngitis, continual flus, digestive issues, extreme fatigue, headaches, continual neck and back pain, bruxism. I wore a night guard for 15 years. I don't have any of those. I'm not going to say I don't have any of those symptoms. When I do start to have something come up, I know how to transmute it really quickly. I have a lot of tools, including the breath work. I had more pain in my 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and I'm now 61, and I have far less pain. Now, right now, there's another layer coming up. I can feel something in my throat that wants to be healed. But before, my neck used to be like cement. That's what everybody would tell me. It was like cement. Like, I don't know. So I can't even get through there when massage therapists would work on me. And there's much more flexibility. And I don't have the neck and back pain that I used to have. So again, when it does come up periodically, usually there's a timeline that wants to be integrated and collapsed, or another memory coming up at a deeper, deeper layer. And again, I have the tools to know how to transmute it a lot more quickly, or at least the awareness as to what it is. So yes. The other thing is it has opened up my telepathic communication with ETs. And I want to share an experience very, very early on with one of my breathwork journeys. I had just had a memory of being abducted by a group of grays, and they were experimenting on me. They were harvesting DNA. It was incredibly painful. It was at the time a very traumatic event, and I remember just saying to myself, like, why did you do this? It freaking hurts so much. I was so angry at them, like, why are you doing this? Why did you do this? It hurts so much. You're hurting so many people with what you're doing. Like, why? And all of a sudden, in my third eye, I saw this group, a semicircle of gray, a council of grays, who came towards me and were listening. And they said, well, you experiment with animals, like we as a collective experiment with animals. I went, oh, I don't personally, but I probably eat some of the foods, or anyways. Um, it helped me to realize that the way that many people see animals as inferior and not really having feelings is the way the Greys were seeing us. They honestly felt that way, that they didn't realize how much feeling we had. And so what I said to them, I sensed that they were very technologically advanced and they had these huge heads and very, very small hearts. And I said, you're focusing so much on technology, which, yeah, it's important, but you're not focusing enough on the heart. And that's your greatest technology, your organic technology. Like, that's the most important piece, like emotions, feelings. Like, maybe that's what you should be focusing on. And they just kind of drew closer and they listened and they really wanted to hear what I had to say. They didn't seem malevolent at all, just very curious. And then I heard telepathically, that's exactly why we're experimenting. Number one, it is to save our race. But number two is we're wanting to tap in more of that emotional aspect and that side. We want to understand it. We want to be able to feel more with our hearts. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Was like, whoa. So their intention, when I could hear it from that perspective, was not malevolent, although it certainly felt like it. Now, as I say that, let me just say there are malevolent beings who just don't care. They really don't care. And there are those who are wanting to assist us and help to improve our race, their race, in all beings across all times and dimensions, space, time, and dimensions. Um, so that was a really powerful experience I had. I've had many other experiences during the breath work in terms of telepathic communication and outside of the breath work. It's one way to just, again, to raise your vibration as you purify and you just open yourself up more readily to be able to communicate with all sorts of otherworldly dimensional beings. I had always been able to, not always, but for years, be able to communicate with loved ones who had passed and who had died, but not necessarily with ETs or my future self or past self. So that was really, really cool. So you can ask, and you can ask. You probably already know about your star feeling, all that. And if you don't, you can go to bed at night and just say, I'd like to know who you are. Can you share who you are? And do it from a place of love. and ask that the means of those divine beings of the highest and best interest for you, um, that those are the ones who are sharing their wisdom and sharing their insight. So make sure that it is of the highest and best for you. Let's see. Okay, affirmations. So some positive affirmations for the breath and to breathe with ease, to breathe freely. I've already kind of said an affirmation. Um, I just want to share and interject the I Can't Breathe t-shirts. I don't know if you remember those when there was someone who, whether it was real or not, that's not the point. I think the fallout from that was I can't breathe t-shirts. And I can't breathe is an affirmation. However, it's an affirmation that is not conducive for breathing and well-being. It's actually subliminally programming one in the masses, if they're not using discernment, to not be able to breathe well. Like they're programming that into their brains. So a positive affirmation would be to turn that around. I can breathe. I can breathe. I breathe freely and easily. It's okay if you don't at the moment. It's okay if you doubt it. It's okay if you don't believe it. Continue to say it and write it. Put it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on your, if you have a car, in the car, put it on your little bicycle handle, wherever. So you're constantly seeing it and being reminded, programming into your mind that you can breathe freely and easily. And then pay attention to the opportunities for maybe techniques, maybe for information that will lead you to greater ease with breathing. If affirmations haven't really worked for you, they didn't used to work for me, there's what's called a psychological reversal. If the trauma is so deep and the programming is so deep that sometimes there's a subconscious pattern that is not allowing those affirmations to work. It's being overridden. So this is something that I learned when I did a training with Jack Canfield, and I don't understand it. I don't, but I know it works. So it's doing the karate chop movement on your hand. You're taking the side of your hand and your fingers of the other hand. You can do it the other way. And the fingertips, and you're just gently tapping about 36 to 40 times. And that will help to reverse that so that when you do speak affirmations, that they work. And again, they may not work right away, so just be consistent and persistent with it. I can breathe freely and easily. Let me see. Oh, this is a big one. It is safe for me to express myself authentically, especially if you've had trauma with the throat where you haven't been free to speak, maybe in other lifetimes where you were actually killed for speaking, where it wasn't safe, or you were a woman and in those times it was men who spoke and not women, um, or you had sexual trauma. So it is safe. It is safe for me to express myself authentically. And going with that, it is safe for me to be who I truly am. It is safe for me to be who I truly am. So the safety and expression, they're all connected to the ear and proper breathing. It's all connected. So if there's any issue with any health and all that, again, it's that spiritual piece of not being authentic and denying your authenticity is ultimately the root of a lot of physical dis-ease, not being able to digest, belief systems that are coming in or they're limiting. And so because of those limiting belief systems, there's limitation, constriction, restriction in your body. So there is and with your breath, and with your breath. Okay, so those are some affirmations. Okay, good. Let's see. I'm just looking at all my notes to make sure. I may have missed some things. I know one of the big things was just to invoke and call in divine beings of the highest and to assist us. But I know that we had done that with the ant beings. So thank you, thank you, thank you, ant beings. Okay, so this next piece, what we're going to do is just a shamanic breathwork journey. Now, this is something I do in person. Occasionally, I'll do it online. Now, this is just a taster. It's only 10 to 15 minutes. This is pre-recorded. I can't see you. So for that reason, I definitely don't want to make it too long. So it's not really going to be long enough to necessarily get you into a regular rhythm of your breathing, although usually 10 or 15 minutes is what it takes for people. And then they find their own pace, and that's when their things start to come up, and there may be some purging, whether it's physical, emotional, or not. And there's some awareness and clarity. Um, I again, I can't touch you. A lot of times I'll touch to help move the energy. If there's any stagnation or as I'm guided, um, although there's that energetic touch. If there is at any point where if your body right now is saying, no, I don't want to participate in this, then don't do it. Honor what your body says, but make sure the resistance is not to the ego, but is to your body's own wisdom. And so then in that sense, it's not resistance. Okay. So ask your body, would it be beneficial for you to participate in this shamanic journey, breathwork journey? And if you start to participate and you're like, I think my body it needs to stop. Again, make sure your decision is coming from your body's wisdom and not from the ego who's wanting to resist what is coming up. Okay? There's a big difference. Okay, what else do I need to share about that? Especially since it's online. But I am being guided to do this, so I will do it. Let me see. So remember, your breath is through your nose. Remember to breathe through that heart, to your throat, all the way down to your belly, to your genitalia, tips of your toes. Breathe in fully, completely, continuous cycles. Do not stop or pause between inhalations and exhalations. Really important. And be sure that your inhalations are equal in length to your exhalations, okay? And if you start to yawn, if you start to cough, that's okay. That's part of the cleanse and the purge. And if you feel like I can't breathe, you kind of stop momentarily. This happens to me a lot, by the way. Allow that to whatever move through. And then when you're ready, then just get right back into the breath. Okay? Don't judge it. Just get back into it. It's okay. Just get back into the breath. Okay? I'm going to focus on the heart today. I'm going to do some chanting. Again, you may be able to hear my rattles or not, and that's okay. It's about the energy. So if you need to stop and pause this video so you can prepare and lie down, just make sure you can see the video or at least hear it. I mean, I would say hear it because I it's preferable that you close your eyes or wear an eye mask so that you can really go inward and focus on that internal eyesight. Okay. I'm like ready to say any questions, but this is pre-recorded. All right. I'm going to actually put a timer on because I really don't want to go too long with this since it is not in person. Thought I had that. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's get ready. Just start with your breath. Begin to, well, focus first on full breaths, inhalations, full exhalations. If and when you're ready, begin to quicken those breaths, your breath. Keep going as you were born into your body, your avatar, with a breath. With the breath. And the breath is what has allowed you to sustain your life, to continue live. It is the full breath that allows you to live your life fully energized, with ease, no matter what storm you may be experiencing. Are you ready to experience greater freedom, more fulfilling and satisfying life? Are you ready to have ease and flow in your body and less or no pain? Are you willing to surrender to your breath and to let go of the ego that may say, this is silly, I can't breathe that long, no way? Allow your breath to take you on a journey of greater freedom, greater love. Continue to breathe. Breathe fully, deeply. Namalaka, Namalaka, oh, oh. Namalako, 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 oh, Layo, oh, mm, mm, ay, ay, oh, oh, Ah, 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 Hayo, Shanoya koyolaya, Nayo, Naila, Shano. Ah, mm, 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 ah, yo, ah, ay, namalap ko siya'y loyal. Hayoyam. Ha, ha, oh, hayo, hayo. Shh, shh. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, 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 oh. Madrecita, madrecita, que nos lleva, que nos lleva los dolores, los dolores hasta el río, hasta el río. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. 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 Ayoy. Dai lai shola lo shai lo hashom layo Namalakashai, Namalakashai, Hai hoi, Hai hoi, Yamoloi, Namaloi. Namo Yamolo, Yamalo, Hi ho, Hi, Yam, 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 I am, I am, I am. Welcome back to the other side of your journey. I'm going to invite you to slow your breath down if you haven't already. Continue to slow your breath down, keeping it full and deep. You may feel like stretching. In fact, it's a really good idea. It cues your body into that you're coming back into the 3D and the external world again. Just move your body in a way that feels good for you, that honors it, honors what it needs at this moment. Clear your throat like me if you need to. Just take the time that you need to come back. I'm just going to talk quietly and softly as you do so. You can leave your eyes closed. You can open them if you wish. Now, this was about just under 15 minutes, which is again just about the length of time that someone begins to get into a regular rhythm. And so you may have been able to do that or not, and know that it's okay. It's just a taster to give you an idea of what the breathwork is all about and what it entails. Um, I wanted to share a couple of resources that are incredibly valuable if you want to know more about the breath if you are wanting to know more breathing techniques. Again, breathwork is just one. There are lots of techniques out there. And one of those people, I'm hoping I'm saying his name correctly, is Sri Gurudev. Gurudev. So it's like Guru, his last name, Gurudev. He has a YouTube channel and he actually shares many types of breathing techniques. He goes into some of the science of it. And I believe it is, I forget how many days, I forget how many days. I want to say it's a 7 day, maybe even more breathing practices, 7 days of breathing practices, therapeutic breathing tech practices that I participated in, and I found them to be incredibly therapeutic. And so this is why I suggest him and recommend him. Again, his name is Sri Gurudev, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Gurudev. He has a YouTube channel. There's also a really powerful book that I wanted to also suggest if you want to know more about the breath and the science behind it. Now, it is by James Nestor. Now, you may be seeing it backwards. It is called Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art. And I apologize if you're seeing this backwards, but let me at least let you see the color of it, the design, so you'll know what book to look for. Again, it's called Breath. Pretty easy, the title there. The subtitle is The New Science of a Lost Art, James Nestor. So he goes into a lot of why people experience challenges with their breath and other health issues. Really, he names just about any health issue you can think of that really is at the root of not properly breathing or having that coherence with the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels. And he also shares some techniques that you can use to assist you. So some additional tools and techniques than what I have shared here. He goes into much more depth. Really, really powerful book. This is my resource. So James Nestor. There's also Wim Hof. You may have heard of him, Wimhof. I don't always like to suggest him. I have done his breathing. He has certain breathing techniques. He talks about breathing in ice or the cold, and that is at your own discretion. I think you have to be very careful and make sure it feels right for your body because it can be rather extreme and it can be very therapeutic. And many people have been able to find success with it. Um, Yet it really depends on your body. So at your discretion, I do think he deserves a mention. His name is Wim Hof. You may have already heard of him. And let's see. As for myself, other resources, I do shamanic breath work mostly, and I do that usually in groups. I also do that one-on-one. I don't like to, sometimes I will do it remotely and online. However, in person is to me always, not always better, but is a really hands-on experience. You dance, have fun. You can dance remotely also. So I have a retreat that's upcoming in September, the 13th to the 17th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I am hosting this retreat at an Eco Retreat Center, the Rancho Gallina. It is a sanctuary. We will have the whole place to ourselves. I'm only accepting 6 to 8 individuals because those who are ready and feel like they're really ready to take that deep dive below in the subconscious to really heal and have that greater awareness. Um, it is all meals included, healthy, organic, locally sourced. There's a couple that owns this retreat center, and it's like family for them, and they live on site, so that says a lot. They take very good care of it. So we would be the only ones on site. It would be lodging, food. All food is included. I am also having a sound bowl healer coming to join us. There will be equine therapy. I'm not sure if I'll have that included. That may be an add-on, but the equine therapy is really powerful, as well as some dance and voice activities. The huge part of my retreat will be the shamanic journeys, the breathwork journeys, but it won't be all of it. It really is about a lot of therapeutic tools to help with mostly significant trauma. It will be for women. I'm not going to say no to men, but it will be a woman's retreat. And particularly if you have experienced significant trauma and are really looking to heal at a deeper level and really break that trauma loop, then this may be for you. And ask your body, check in with your body and see if it resonates and makes sense, or perhaps with somebody you may know. I am also beginning a sacred, I'm looking at the name because I'm like, I haven't even started it yet, but it's been incoming downloading. A sacred somatic healing circle, in which I will continue to share really therapeutic techniques as I am intuitively guided, and in terms of what comes up with the group that's involved. It'll be for women. Um, Again, we'll see if there are men that are interested. I will take a look at that. I don't want to exclude anybody, but I also want to have a safe container for women. Um, but I don't want to exclude someone who doesn't identify necessarily as a woman or a man, and acknowledge that. So certainly reach out to me if it calls to you and speaks to you. And don't let the fact that you're maybe not a woman discourage you. So my email is SicilianSpiritualRetreats.com. I did live in Sicily. I will be circling back around doing retreats in Sicily. Right now, my focus is Santa Fe, New Mexico in the United States. Again, it is SicilianSpiritualRetreats.com, and I will add that to my bio so that you can see that. I will also add the resources because I think I forgot to do that. So I will add the resources that I mentioned. Again, the book and the YouTube channel with Grudef. Okay. Thank you so much. I would love, I'm not sure if how this is going to work, if you'll have an opportunity to share comments and feedback, maybe even observations, experiences, and so on. So in the meantime, much, much peace and love, and may you be aware of your breath, more aware of your breath, and breathe through your nose. And may life, the joy, and peace, may that all be with you. Mwah. Much peace and love all. Thank you so, so much for tuning in. And thank you, my beautiful star family and my ant people, for lovingly, lovingly guiding us and continuing to guide us. Ciao for now.